Now, you should understand by now that heart disease, that diabetes, and even cancers are not just random occurrences. What we eat is crucial and it has a very crucial role in determining overall health. So you probably have heard the words like, you are what you eat. When we consume a diet that is high in processed foods, or that's primarily processed foods, or maybe not processed foods, but really high in saturated fats and sugars and cholesterol and excess protein that's animal source, these can increase our risk of developing conditions like heart disease. These unhealthy dietary choices can lead to weight gain, to increased blood pressure, to elevated blood cholesterol, and all of this are significant risk factors for heart disease. On the other end, if our diet is rich in whole plant-based foods, they provide essential nutrients that support the health of our heart and vascular system and lower our blood pressure because they naturally contain vasodilators, and take note, they have antioxidants and phytochemicals that help us heal and reduce cholesterol levels. Today we're diving into a crucial topic. It's the connection between diet and chronic diseases. So if you want to know more about how to win over chronic disease, and by the way, it's not reversible for most of them, I will invite you to stick around and watch the entire video. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Lifestyle Changer MD. My name is Dr. Adelita. I'm a plant-based doctor here dedicated to helping you live a healthiest life. And today we're diving into a crucial topic. It's the connection between diet and chronic diseases. So if you want to know more about how to win over chronic disease, and by the way, it's not reversible for most of them, I will invite you to stick around and watch the entire video. Did you know that what you eat can significantly impact the risk of developing chronic diseases? And chronic diseases, I mean diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and even heart disease or cancer. Stick around because this can be a life changer for you as much as it is for a lot of my patients. And I'm very happy to share what I know. Now, let's talk about first what chronic disease means. Like, what are we really talking about when we say chronic diseases? Chronic means long-standing. Chronic diseases are any kind of disease that would last for at least a minimum of a year, that requires continued medical attention or need medications, and people call this maintenance meds, right? If you're on it, then you have that kind of chronic disease. And also, you may not need medications yet, but you know that whatever you are experiencing or having is significantly reducing or impacting your quality of life. You have a poor quality of life. Simple as like, I really want to play golf every day, but I cannot withstand the sitting and the walking for way too long because my knees hurt and then it swells, or my legs swell, and so this limits your activity, right? So anything that decreases your quality of life, you are presumed to have a certain chronic disease. Now, you should understand by now that heart disease, that diabetes, and even cancers are not just random occurrences, and that they neither are caused by just plain unfortunately receiving a bad genes from your parents or grandparents. We are past that era of blaming genes as a cause of our hypertension, of our diabetes, of our cancer. We're past that. Why? because we are learning that there is what we call epigenetics, right? Epigenetics, it's that's just that phenomenon where we could be changing our genetic predisposition based from the lifestyle that we're living. 70 to 80% of the chronic disease that we now have are actually preventable. And if it's according to WHO, if they are preventable, then that means it's not, dictated solely by genes alone. What we eat is crucial, and it has a very crucial role in determining overall health, wellness, and even sickness. If we are eating unhealthy foods that actually feed the disease, then it will lead to what? Sickness. But if we are smart enough to use the power of food as medicine, then we truly can lead our way towards a path of wellness and healing. And we have now the evidence, the scientific evidence to prove that and to support that. So you probably have heard the words like, you are what you eat. Yes, you are what you eat. You are not what you are because you, unfortunately, one of the lucky ones to receive genes. Now, don't get me wrong. There are still some diseases that are significantly dictated by genes that's been passed on to from parent to offspring, but there only are few. Majority are now dictated by our lifestyle, particularly this four-letter word, diet, D-I-E-T. And that's why it's really worth talking about it and understanding more about how and what the role is of diet in these diseases. Now, let's start with heart disease, okay? When we consume a diet that is high in processed foods, or that's primarily processed foods, or maybe not processed foods, but really high in saturated fats and sugars and cholesterol and excess protein that's animal source, these can increase our risk of developing conditions like heart disease. Okay? These unhealthy dietary choices can lead to weight gain, to increased blood pressure, to elevated blood cholesterol, and all of this are significant risk factors for heart disease. On the other end, if our diet is rich in whole plant-based foods, such as fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, seeds, whole grains, they provide essential nutrients that support the health of our heart and vascular system and lower our blood pressure because they naturally contain vasodilators. And take note, they have antioxidants and phytochemicals that help us heal and reduce cholesterol levels. And I have seen that multiple times in my patients that have sought help in reducing their medications. And that's the reason why we could actually get them off safely cholesterol medicines, those atorvastatin or rosuvastatin or simvastatin. That's why I could take them off hypertension medications, because then they are eating foods that are medicinal. That's actually helping their vessels heal, right? And these diet and this type of eating lifestyle is what's sustainable for the human body in order to perform at the maximum level as well. Now, heart disease is also not just the only disease that we can reverse with healthy lifestyle and plant-based eating. Diabetes type 2 is another one, and the last time I checked, this is the ranked top 6 in the 10 leading causes of death in the U.S. Top 6. I don't know where it stands now, but we do have millions and millions of people affected by this condition, type 2 diabetes. Remember, the diet that is high in processed foods, you cannot escape the fact that these foods, processed foods, are also high in refined sugars. Okay? Unfortunately, sugar is another way to preserve food, and it's processed food. So plus it has taste, makes the food taste so good and heavenly, but but not good. So processed foods are high in refined sugars, right? They're also high in saturated fats, right? And if you're not careful, they're animal products, they're also high in cholesterol too. And not to mention, they do have less amount of fiber, which is a type of carbohydrates. Now, fiber, I'll do another video about that. But fiber is very important because, and they can only be found in plants, because fiber prevents sugar spikes. That's right. Fiber prevents sugar spikes and improve insulin sensitivity. So if you have type 2 diabetes, it will allow you time to process the carbs that you have eaten, or the sugar that you've eaten, and let them get into the cell where they are needed and not stay in the blood, so that when you check, your blood sugar is not high. This is quite a long there is an explanation for how fiber really helps in kind of like the secret sauce in those that go plant-based and reverse their type 2 diabetes. If you are eating whole food plant-based diet that's rich in fiber, that's rich in plant proteins and healthy fats, all this can help regulate your blood sugar levels and improve your insulin sensitivity. No question and no doubt about that. And this can help reduce your risk for developing type 2 diabetes for those that are still at risk and not necessarily diabetic. Please know that you can still move towards the diabetes pathway if you have not considered or not taking any action in not feeding the disease. Okay? And that's why I was able to reverse my type 2 diabetes and help hundreds of diabetes patients, including my mom, get off insulin and other oral medications by just simply changing our diet. Now, the third chronic disease that I want to mention and talk a little bit about is cancer. Cancer. Now, while not all type of cancers are preventable, diet can certainly impact our risk. Have you heard about IARC? IARC stands for International Agency for Research on Cancer. And this is a specialized cancer agency of the World Health Organization. You can Google it, IARC. What they do is they coordinate research across the countries and organizations to identify substances, and that includes food, that can cause cancer, so that preventive measures may be adopted and help decrease the burden of the disease, which is cancer. So that's what all they do. Look at different things, including environmental hazards, right? Anything that can cause cancer. I'm not really sure if we are looking at their magnificent work, but it's really worth looking. And I'm going to show you a bit of that too. So here's what I want to show you. So here, what you see is that IARC monographs. Basically, what they did after looking at data and research studies, they constructed, or they created this classification of kind of grouping the substances based on the level of certainty that this particular substance can cause cancer. Okay, so here you see they're grouping group 1, group 2A, group 2B, and group 3. So group 1 are substances that showed significant evidence for causing cancer in humans. Okay, cancer in humans. No doubt it can cause cancer in humans. And in this category belongs tobacco smoking, radiation, consumption of alcohol beverages. Okay, it's type 1. Meaning evidence shows that these things, examples, these are just examples, these things are known to cause cancer in humans. That's group 1. Group 2 are substances that showed limited evidence for causing cancer in humans, but sufficient evidence to cause cancer in other experimental animals. Okay? And examples in this category are high temperature, frying, DDT, consumption of red meat, night shift work. Wow. There's an explanation for that. But consumption of red meat is classified as group 2A, meaning there is limited evidence for causing cancer in humans, but significant evidence for causing cancer in experimental animals. And then science is an ever-growing field. You know, what we know now can change in the future or may be added in the future. So we are advancing as we get to know more, gather more evidence, the more we change some things that we know, or maybe support things that we already know, and even prove that they can truly cause cancer. So remember, red meat, that's group 2A, right? Group 2B is limited evidence in humans, less sufficient evidence in experimental animals. And so we have the gasoline here, right? This classification is very helpful to for us to see that things that we see on a day-to-day basis may actually have already evidence to say something to indicate that they can be a potential source of the problem. Now, we're talking diet today, and so I wanted to just show you another slide here. Okay, so here you'll see what the PCRM, the Physician Committee for Responsible Medicine, had put together after reviewing some evidence and resources of how some particular foods can either increase the risk or decrease the risk of certain cancers. What you're seeing here is particularly pointing out prostate cancer and colorectal cancer, colon and rectal cancer. As you can see, for prostate cancer, milk and dairy protein, so milk and dairy products, have significantly shown that they can increase the risk of prostate cancer. 2 glasses of milk, 60% increased risk of prostate cancer. Dairy protein, 32%. Calcium supplements, 51%. And this is something, you know, few people know. The supplementation of calcium over the counter needs to be thoughtfully decided upon because they can increase potentially put somebody at risk for other problems such as this. Now, colorectal cancer, you see alcohol, processed meat, and red meat. And this is something I'm going to do another video of to explain why such this foods and beverage cause particularly increased risk for colorectal cancer. So if you notice, these products, aside from alcohol, are based on animal, right? Animal food, animal meat, and their products, right? It's something really that we need to remind ourselves of, that we have the evidence that these can increase our risk for cancer. This is how diet can dictate our destiny, whether we should be well or we should be sick. These truly are feeding a lot of chronic diseases that are claiming more lives every single minute of the day. Conversely, consuming a diet that's rich in antioxidants, phytochemicals found in foods like berries, nuts, and leafy greens, they help protect our cells from damage and reduce the risk for cancer. Here you see, again, from Physician Committee for Responsible Medicine, putting all the resources in. They've constructed this on the other end of the spectrum, how consuming plant-rich or plant-based foods can significantly decrease the risk for breast cancer, right? Cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables is a special group of vegetables, and they're mostly green leafy vegetables. If you noticed, these are a special class of vegetables that have shown to have special properties that outperform other vegetables out there. Again, I'm going to try to make another video about this, about cruciferous vegetables. But you see, 18% reduction in breast cancer for risk for breast cancer. High intake of fruits, variety of fruits, 11%. Carotenoid vegetables, these are our yellow-orange plant friends. Yellow or orange plant friends, right? They're rich in carotenoid, 19%. Soy foods, 30% reduction of risk for breast cancer. That's a very, very, impressive to me. I mean, what if I can combine? I mean, come to think about this. What if we can combine? What if we can make ourselves eat more soy foods, more cruciferous vegetables, more fruits in the diet, more carotenoid vegetables? I mean, all this. You're not just getting 30%, 19, 11, 18. I mean, it could, the reduction, your risk for reducing breast cancer is way much better, right? So, especially if you have a family history, first degree, your mom or your sister, have breast cancer, all the more you should aspire to use food as your ally in reducing your personal risk for breast cancer. Now, all cancers, any kind of cancers, and that we know of today, when we live a very healthful lifestyle, we can decrease our risk for any type of cancer by 30%. Okay? Now, here are my practical tips to incorporate more healthy foods in your diet. Are you ready? Number 1, start your day right. You have to start your day right. That will determine how you're going to carry on your lifestyle for that day. Begin with a nutritious breakfast. And I always like to say and advocate, because that's what I personally do, eating an oatmeal, a whole, traditional, non-flavored, old-fashioned oatmeal, and load it up with nuts, with variety of fruits, particularly berries. Okay? Number 2, snack smart. If you should need to snack, you gotta prefer fruits, or maybe some snacks like carrots with hummus, or just a handful of whole nuts, as long as they're not sweetened or coated, right? Or salted. Not those stuff. Just plain, unsalted, unsweetened, uncoated whole nuts. You can have those as your snacks. Number 3, plan your meals. Plan your meals. Prepare your meals in advance to ensure that that they're balanced and nutrient rich. And again, focus on whole food, plant-based. Because you might have heard this, but I like this. I personally like this line about planning. When you fail to plan, that means you're planning to fail. Period. Okay? When you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So if you don't want to fail, plan. Plan. Tip number 4, stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water, and I mean water, right? Not soda, not fruit juices, but water throughout the day. And then include, you may include some herbal teas if you like. Just make sure you don't add any more to it. Just like sugar, with your tea, or some dairy or milk, animal milk products. That's gonna really counter and cancel the benefit of tea. Eating a healthy lifestyle doesn't have to be complicated. Start your day with a bowl of oatmeal topped with fresh fruits and nuts for a delicious food. I have a recipe on that in my website, www.theplanetedelita.com. I hope you go and visit and subscribe in my website to get some updates and helpful information. Lastly, I want to share with you our lifestyle changers. This is Philip, and his story is again in my website, but he's had multiple heart attacks, had 2 heart bypass surgeries at different times, and a total of 3 heart stents placed at different times too. And he was on 7 blood pressure and heart medicines, and we're able to take him off 5 of them, and only left with cholesterol medicine and blood thinners, because he can't be off of them because he's got a heart procedure. Those are important medicines. But he's also diabetic too. He was on 4 times a day dosing of insulin, a total of 84 units a day. And on day 5, by just changing his diet to plant-based, and with my guidance, of course, he's off of insulin. Off of 84 units of insulin. And because his diabetes improved from an A1C of 9.5 to 5.4, his neuropathy, which is a complication of diabetes, the nerve pains went away. And so there's no reason for him to stay on and keep taking the nerve pill. He reversed his diabetes also, which is a chronic disease, right? Lost a lot of weight, as you can see, and started having that energy. I mean, a full blast of energy that he couldn't help but run to the gym to work out, and that really changed his life. It's a game changer for him, just changing the diet. Okay, another lifestyle changer I want to highlight is Lowell, and again, his story is in my website. Lowell had severe coronary artery disease, meaning multiple heart heart attacks, even had 2 heart bypass surgeries and stents, irregular heart rhythm, and a continued chest pain despite multiple medications on it. In fact, he was recommended to be put on hospice because there's no more surgical options for him, and he stopped and kept deteriorating, changing his diet to plant-based, not looking back. This is just in a matter of less than a year. Okay, and look at him. I call him Johnny Bravo. He looks so, I mean, as you can see, way different from how he looked before. So stories like this, there's a ton, but it is enough it is enough to prove a point. And the point is, no matter what kind of chronic disease you have, if you only understand the connection between healthy lifestyle, the connection between dietary changes with your chronic disease, and understand that, and then decide if you want to change your course of life and your improve your quality of life, and you have that power. You do, just like them, just like Lowell and Philip. Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are what you eat. And by making healthier choices, by making sound, smart choices with your food, you can reduce your risk of chronic disease and live a longer, happier, more vibrant life. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, or go ahead and visit my website, www.theplanedilita.com, and subscribe so you'd be up to date with my newsletters and health tips and many more. So if you have any questions also, or topics you'd like me to cover, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Until next time, I'll see you again. Stay happy and healthy.